Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here. 100 days ago, I mentioned on video for posterity, for documentation, and just to keep myself accountable by putting it out into the universe. So I would have something to look back on and forward 100 days. Started at a 50-day, not necessarily the word challenge, but started at a 50-day project and has stretched forward to twice that, into well over 3 months. 282.0 was the weight back then. And I'm now going to step on the scale again and just see what has happened over that tenure of time. I'm inviting you to join me as I step on the scale. Shall you? When I started this, I purchased this scale the day of the first weigh-in. Bought it at Target. It's the Balance brand. It has the LCD display up towards the top here. When I step on it, the only difference is I am holding the camera, wearing a t-shirt, wearing socks just like I was on day one. The only difference is that I have shorts on now. So that might make, about a half an ounce, maybe a half a pound, I should say, difference. Or maybe even a pound. But not too much, because I have shorts where I had long pants on the first weigh-in. So we were at 282.0 the first time. And let's just give it the first rundown here. 230.6. Okay, 230.6. I always like to give it 3 tries. Just want to get the best 2 out of 3. The scale sometimes could be a little wacky. 230.6. I think that might be it. Now I'll step on with the opposite foot just to see if there's any difference, which there won't be. But just to make sure. 230.6. That's it. Is that close to just shy of 50 pounds? Maybe a pound away from 50 pounds, give or take? No, I stand completely corrected. It is over 50 pounds. 282.0 minus 230.6 is over 50 pounds by almost 2 pounds over. 51.4. I'll get the calculator out, but off the top of my head, that's what I'm going for. You can see there were some days I did not weigh myself, skipped entire segments of documentation, but I did have this next to my refrigerator once again for accountability. Started back on June 24th, day 1, 282, and you can see the first week is very easy to drop water weight, and when you're kind of doing things the progress that I was doing, you can really, the pounds seem to just kind of fall off. It's not easy. It is a difficult task to watch what you eat, count calories, and be wary, I should say, of what you're consuming. Day 50 I did an update and I was at 247.1. So I had already lost 35 pounds. In the first 50 days I lost 35 pounds. And in the second half of this tenure I lost another 16.5 pounds. So twice as difficult, even though I was kind of basically eating the same amount of calories, skipping the same amount of meals. You hit a plateau, but I broke through the plateau and accomplished it down to 230.6. Now you'll see 5 days ago I weighed in at 231.9. I only lost 1.3 pounds in 5 days. So the less you start to weigh, the harder it is to drop more pounds. So the heavier you are, according to this, you can really drop 5, 10, 15 pounds even in that first week. Feeling pretty good. Heck yeah. Now I must also clarify that I did not reach my goal. My goal was not accomplished. I stated I would be at 220. I failed at that. But in my experience, what works for me is to always go for a little further than what you think might be possible. You know, if I would have said I'm going to lose 10 pounds in this time period, I may have only lost 8. If I said I was going to lose 30, I might have only lost 22. Coffee played a big part in curbing my appetite. Yes, it would have been nice to hit 220, but 230, 51 plus pounds, it's nothing to sneeze at. Kind of spilling over the side there. The coffee is very excited. I love the last little noise. Meal replacement is ready. That's what my stomach was sounding like on a lot of days right there. My stomach sounded like that many a times. Cheers. How was this accomplished, you might ask? How did half of 100 pounds drop off my torso? That's warm. How did I stay the course? How did I resist temptation? It was all in my mind. You have to want it. And by meaning that, over the years, I've always had family, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, those who you meet on the street, those who leave comments, social media, they are going to lose weight. And you know, you may have experienced this where others will ask you to join into their weight loss challenge. And sometimes I would try it and fail after a day or two because I didn't truly want that to happen. I wasn't ready. That's more appropriate word. You have to be ready for it. And this time I was ready. It was affecting my health, the way I felt, with acid reflux, heartburn every night when I would lay down to sleep and slumber, feeling the food that you would consume throughout the day in large portions would come back to haunt you. Since it is Halloween time, 2020, it's a kind of a good little tie-in. The food would haunt you. And I got tired of that. I needed that to change. So that's what kicked off this thought process. Now the first half, I was in Florida for the re-grand opening of Walt Disney World. I do not want to spill this coffee. I'm gonna try to shift hands. Do not spill hot coffee on my lap. It was difficult at Walt Disney World back then. This is, 100 days ago when I was starting this, that first couple weeks. To not have treats, not have churros. I did have a Dole Whip or two, but inside the parks, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, I never ate a meal inside the park or really any snacks. I did have one or two things at the resort, hence the Dole Whip on one or two occasions. And then at the end of the evening, I would not eat all day. Skipping meals, a lot of skipping meals, which, the first few weeks is very difficult, but your body gets used to that. Eating is a huge habit. And if you can break that habit, and there's a clever saying, I'm gonna mess this up because I haven't even used this saying, but I remember it is something that my mom told me many moons ago, to use another one of her expressions. You eat to live, not live to eat. And that didn't even go back into my consciousness till just now, but that's also a good little terminology. But the habit aspect is really, I'm just really, this coffee's there on the the couch or the love seat. Well, this is a love seat because only 2 people. The couch is like a little bit longer, a love seat. But I did it. First half, in the evenings, not eating all day. Wake up, I would have a coffee. Lunchtime, would have a coffee. In fact, up until now, I will be hanging out with friends. We'll go to downtown Disney. We'll go to different places around. And you know, they were getting meals, stuff like that. They'll go into Starbucks, get a coffee, usually an iced coffee or a refresher. And I will be the one saying, can I have a piping hot coffee? I usually put a little bit of vanilla in there, just a tiny little bit of vanilla, tiny little bit of cream, tiny bit of sugar. And they always, the coffee shops here in Southern California this time of year, look at me like I am some sort of creature from outer space wanting a piping hot beverage. So they have to, I always get a fresh cup. And because I do that, in my mind, the heat and the caffeine kind of knots my stomach up and acts as like almost like a meal replacement. So I do that throughout the course of the day. You know, I might have an occasional orange juice. During these times, you have to stay not only hydrated, but you have to stay vitaminized. So I do consume a lot of vitamin C. So that I may have lost more if I was not inundating my body with orange juice and occasionally, you know, apple juice, things like that. Was also taking a lot of multivitamins. I take a men's multivitamin, take 2 of those a day, which have everything in there. And then I also have the chewable vitamin C's that I kind of just snack on. I have 1 in the morning, 1 in the midday, and 1 at night. You're supposed to take 2 a day. I take 3 a day just to keep the vitamin C going. And then I have the OJ, you know, just to keep the immune system up. Like I said, all this, I am not a doctor. I do not know anything about this. This is just how it makes me feel. Keeps me kind of driving forward. And that's what I do. So the first half, the first 40, 50 days, I would have a light salad at night, very little dressing. And I pretty much only ate that and baked potatoes with no sour cream, no butter, no salt on there, just a plain baked potato, which you can get at Wendy's. I would go through the Wendy's drive-thru pretty often and just ask for 1, maybe 2 plain baked potatoes. And I would do that maybe an hour or 2 before I went to bed. Actually, probably more like 3 hours before I went to bed. And that would, it would be full. And it would just kind of sit in there while I slumbered. I'd wake up the next day, weigh myself, and I had lost a half a pound or a pound. So on average, if you average it out per day, now some days I lost more, some days I didn't lose any. There were some days I even gained a pound but then dropped it back down. But if you take the average, I lost a half a pound every day for 100 days, totaling 50 days. Totaling 100 days, 50 pounds. Pretty good. So that's what I did. The second half, I wasn't as stringent on myself. Hence maybe why I only lost 16 and a half, 17 pounds the second 50 days, and because I was weighing less, so it is a little more difficult. That's basically it. Skipped meals. In fact, here's a little inside tip. I skipped a day or 2 without eating anything. In fact, there was 1 or 2 time periods I skipped 2 days of eating. Intermittent fasting, I believe they called it. The body can go a long time without eating. I've done it before. That's another little side note I want to throw in there. When I was younger, I could go a lot longer without eating, but as I've gotten older, I think maybe the reason I didn't hit the 220 is because you start to feel not well if you go too long without eating. So you have to trust your body. You have to go with what works for you. I know it works for me. I have mentioned this many times. When you talk about a diet plan, when you talk about religion, when you talk about politics, those 3 things will strike up a riveting conversation among anyone. So with those other items, what applies to you and what you believe and what your thought process is and what works for you is what you need to adhere to and stick to and go by. So I'm just saying what works for me. And that's what worked for me. What I did, what I showed you, having the clipboard right there next to my refrigerator every day, seeing that, I didn't forget about it. If I would have said, heck it, I'm going to give up on this, I'll lose the weight. But not see that in front of me without even speaking to my YouTube channel, everyone watching, being held accountable. I don't think I could have done it. And it worked for me, and I'm going to continue. Right now I'm at 230. I would love to get down to 210. Obviously the 220, but I would like to get around to the 210. 200 might be a little too thin. I'm 6'3" for my body type. 200 might be kind of stretching it. I was around, when I was growing up till I was about 17, I was about 185, and I was thin, very, very thin, and then I was around 200 for quite some time until I was 27 years old. And once I hit 27, really started to pack on the pounds. That is when all my metabolism changed considerably. And you're not as active. And also, throw this in, I did not do any working out, I did not do any push-ups, I did not do any sit-ups, did not do any crunches, did not take the medicine ball that I purchased way back when all this kind of, this wackiness started here in 2020, and I said, I'm gonna get in shape. For me, once again, it's about what you are putting in that adds on the pounds versus eating a lot and then attempting to try to work that off through exercise. Now, I would like to start peppering in a little bit of exercise. Maybe now that I am down that weight, it'll be easier to do the push-ups, go out on bike rides. All that has been on the back burner because I did not want to escalate and get too hungry. Because in the past, many, many years ago, I would go to a gym and I would work overnights, third shift at a grocery store, get off, I would go to this gym, this is a long time ago, I would work out. And when I would get home, as I was starting to kind of decompress, laying around, sitting on the couch, laying in bed, trying to go to sleep, because I had exerted and burned so many calories, I was so hungry, I would stuff my face, go to bed, wake up heavier than if I had not even worked out. Once again, I know not what I'm talking about. I only know what the paper shows, what the scale shows, and how I feel. I feel great. I'm gonna have a cheat day today and tomorrow, then get back on track. This will continue. I am not gonna make a statement saying that I'm gonna get to a weight. This adventure has come to an end as far as the documenting of it. Now, if I get down to 210, I might throw into another vlog that I got down to that point. But I want to be held accountable, not only to myself, but to everyone out there. I'm making a statement, not to chime back in, but I don't want to get back up to what I was. I don't want to be that unhealthy as far as my weight was again. I was not feeling good. And now I feel great. I'm really happy about it. Also, I didn't have any soda, which for me, I was big into Mountain Dew for a long time. I did not have a Coca-Cola, a Pepsi, even a Sprite, nothing like that over this tenure. But a lot of coffee, some juice, and I had a couple cheat days. There were 1 or 2 days that I ate some pizza, I had some ice cream. So you have to give yourself a little temptation in there occasionally, just to kind of wet your whistle. Okay, I've said so much, yet I've said so little. If you're new here, please subscribe. By doing so helps keep you in the loop and update on future uploads here on this channel. Take it a step further, ring that notification bell. I am super happy, and I'm glad I got to share this with the world. 51.4, hope I'm doing the math right, over, let's say 50 pounds in 100 days. I did it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog is over. Oh, that's good. Forgot to give the full body look, because I was focused on my face there and talking a little bit. But yeah, still a little bit to go. Much more compact than it was. I think my stomach was about out to here. This is a large, maybe a medium shirt. I think this might be a large, but I haven't been able to fit into a medium. But I was at a 2X, almost into a 3X.